Hey VC, I am going to be jumping on a thread here, and this is for my friend Craig over at A to Z Music Haven. Craig is starting a thread. He wants us to show 4 albums from 2 separate decades, our favorite musical decades, maybe albums that we don't usually show or talk about on our channels. So I am more than happy to jump in. Craig has a great channel. I love his content. Please make sure you go check out Craig again over at A to Z Music Haven. Give him a sub, give him some love, check out his videos. You will enjoy them, I guarantee it. So the 2 decades I'm gonna pick the 1960s and the 1980s. First album I'm gonna show from the 1960s. This is The Who, their debut North American album, My Generation. This has My Generation on it, obviously, but it also has The Kids Are All Right, and that's about as far as most people get. This album really isn't going to be familiar to too many people. There's a song, A Legal Matter, on here. Out in the Street is pretty good. There's a James Brown cover. There's some R&B covers on here. Pete Townsend had not yet developed into the songwriter that he would in even a year's time. So it's a decent album, pretty heavy on R&B, but nonetheless enjoyable. This is on the Decca record label, but good album to have. I like the cover art and like it as part of my Who collection. The next one is an album that I very rarely spin, and I'm not sure why, just because I've got many other musical choices, but this is Vanilla Fudge. Their big hit off of here was the cover of You Keep Me Hanging On, but they also do covers of Ticket to Ride, People Get Ready, She's Not There, Eleanor Rigby, but nonetheless, it's a good slice of psychedelic pop, kind of veers into garage rock a little bit, but it's an enjoyable album. I got to get this out and I got to play it a bit more, and that's kind of the idea of Craig's thread, is albums that maybe we forgot we even had as part of our collection and don't spin that often. Another one that falls under that category for me is the 3rd and final Buffalo Springfield studio album. This was right after Neil Young had left the band. There's only a few compositions from him on here. Pretty good album, actually, even though it's kind of the 3rd and least recognized of Buffalo Springfield's 3 studio albums. There's still some great stuff here. You got the Neil Young song, I Am a Child. On the Way Home is very cool. And it's a real kind of potpourri of styles on here. Kind Woman is another great track on here. Questions. But if you're kind of a completist and you want to fill out either your Neil Young or your Buffalo Springfield collection, definitely check that one out. And the last album from the 60s that I'm going to show is Music from Big Pink by the band, cover illustrated by Bob Dylan. This was a songwriting collaboration for the most part between Bob Dylan and the members of the band. This is my favorite band album. Their second one, their self-titled record, was pretty great too, but you know, for me, this one is one of my favorite albums of the 1960s. Play it more than some of my other 60s records, actually, but I still wanted to show this because I don't show it that often on my channel. But yeah, you got so many fantastic tracks on here. This is a reissue, but cool gatefold here. Tears of Rage is a fantastic Dylan cover. In a Station, great Richard Manuel track. The Weight, of course, Long Black Veil, Chest Fever, which sounds a little bit like Deep Purple, as close to Deep Purple as the band would ever sound. Lonesome Susie, another great Richard Manuel track. And This Wheel's on Fire, which the Byrds also would cover. So great, great stuff there. All right, for my 80s records that I'm going to show, I have been a huge fan of this band, but I don't show a lot of their stuff on here. But Level 42, kind of synth pop, a little bit of jazz mixed in here. Big hit off of here was Lessons in Love. Running in the Family, the title track, I think also got some airplay, but just great. If you like synth pop, or kind of like Simply Red is probably the closest band that I could compare Level 42 to, but this is a really great album. Love it a lot. And Craig is a big Kansas fan, so I wanted to show a Kansas album. This is Power, my favorite Kansas cover here. I love the artwork on this one. And this had All I Wanted was the single. You know, probably not too much that other people would recognize off here, but it's good 80s rock. Not too much into 80s production, but Kansas is a heavier band than I think most people give them credit for, and Power is worthy addition to their catalog. Talking Heads, I don't show a lot of, but this is their 80s album, Speaking in Tongues. Burning Down the House was on here. And it's got a bit of world music on here, some more world rhythms kind of carrying over from Speaking in Tongues, but a little more pop oriented. Really, really like this one a lot. Like the cover on there too. Girlfriend is Better is probably the other track that people would recognize off here. And then the last one I'm going to show, this is Elvis Costello, his King of America. This is when Elvis Costello had finally become as popular as Elvis Presley. This one has a great cover of Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood. It's got Indoor Fireworks, Jack of All Parades. So he's kind of stepped away from the earlier, his real early stuff is more in the new wave synth pop vein, but this is more mature songwriting. Definitely he's expanded his sound. The Attractions do not appear on this record. It's actually credited to Elvis Costello. Well, it's actually, it's not even credited to Elvis Costello. It's credited to the Costello Show. But nonetheless, really great, enjoyable album. All right, so that is my thread entry for Craig. Make sure you check out his original thread video, and take care.